at your tweets at Morning Live SABC if you've got a question that you'd like to ask. And just before the break, we talked about the consolidation of free-to-air services. And I just got a whisper in my ear, actually, that the broadcasters still have to have this discussion. So this is an ongoing process. But let's continue then with our questions. And this set-top box isn't just about television, is it? It's going to have other services like radio, internet on it as well. Is that true?
Not at this point.
Okay,
no.
But it has the capability.
Yes. The box that we have is a simple box that enables you to watch your television as you were watching before, but in a more better quality and more channels. It is about that. It is not more bells and whistles. But the point, however, is we are talking here about the subsidized box.
Yeah.
There will be boxes in the retail that are issued out by the broadcasters themselves that may have other features.
Okay.
And I think this is what is important that our country should understand. There's been a lot of noise and stoppages and contestation about the subsidized box. There's a market of more than 3 million out there, people who will not qualify to the subsidized box, who will get a box that has all the bells and whistles, internet, and whatever the private operators and commercial operators can put into it.
All right, so the tender that's gone out, the boxes that are going to be manufactured are for the minimum standards and minimum requirements for access. Beyond that, other people will be able to produce boxes that they can retail, and they will have as many services as they want. Is essentially what we're talking about?
It's quite true. The government's intention here, I think the minister explained it very well earlier, is government will subsidize what would be your basic. We cannot be seen as government to be subsidizing people who can afford.
Right.
This is very clear when we talk in terms of the qualifying criteria. There are people, you mentioned indigents.
Yeah.
There are people who would be earning below a certain threshold of salary. So government can only concentrate on those people who would be declared and would qualify as needy families or TV-owning households.
Okay, all right. Let's go to table 7, and I can't quite read your. Is it Pamodi? Is that correct? Table number 7. If you could just say your name, please. You write like a doctor.
Hi, Bizulaga Sekwetlane Pamodi, and I'm from the SAS Coalition. My question really was about how many households could be identified as indigent. As far as the census 2011 figures have stated, we have about 40.5 million households in this country, and about 8.5 to 9 million of which are earning less than 3,200 Rand per month. Government has made the very welcome commitment to subsidize 5 million households with free set-top boxes. But what happens with those households, those other 3 million households, because they also do desperately need to be given these boxes for free as well, given what the figures tell us about the economic conditions of the people of our country?
Okay.
Thank you. It's quite true. When government or cabinet took a decision, the number was set at 5 million. And the recent state census that we had has indicated the number of indigents which has grown. We currently have a figure of 8.2 million or so. So I want to believe that cabinet is cognizant of that. We have made a submission to make government aware of this increase. And I want to believe that the matter is receiving the necessary consideration into the future.
So, Minister, no one will get left behind.
Yes, I agree 100%. Remember, we operated with the available budget at that time, and then we got the figure of 8.2 million. There's a commitment to like Solia said, this is an ongoing. We first prioritize the first 5 million, but there should be a need for additional funding. Definitely there will be money available to that effect.
What is the 17 June was the date where the ITU says they could no longer protect us with the spillage of signals. Mozambique is already digital ready, and so the question is, along our borders now, what is happening right now? Is there any spillage? Is there no spillage? What are we doing to safeguard our people in that respect?
Yes. On the issue of around borders, like I've indicated, as we speak now, there's no spillage.
Okay.
That's one thing that we had to make sure that it doesn't happen. And with our moving around the SADC countries, neighboring states, because we saw that possibilities. We have since put in technical implementation task teams, wherein they communicate. You find your broadcasters, signal distributors, your regulator. We formed task team there. And now again, at our SADC meeting as ministers responsible for communication, ICT and postal services, we have reinforced the fact that we are going to make sure that we monitor, that we make sure that this task team work around the clock that to prevent issues like spillage. Thus far, there's nothing that has happened.
All right, so we're talking spillage coming in.
Yes.
What about us going out? Are neighbors ready in terms of when we switch on, are they not going to get our signals for free?
Exactly. That's why we had to do these bilaterals, because it was also an eye-opener for our colleagues. The moment we visited them, because we initiated these processes, then they also saw the need to make sure that. That's why I'm talking about the task team of signal distributors, broadcasters, regulators, to make sure that so they are communicating on a regular basis to make sure this doesn't happen.
Okay.
Yeah.
Table number 8, we'll find, is this Litepe Maisela?
Thank you. Honorable Minister, you are welcome. I'm just worried about the publicity surrounding digital migration. We have heard a lot about it. We have read about the court cases and the like. What I have missed is on the public domain. It's some campaign to inform the ordinary person, a South African, about digital migration.
Okay.
I'm trying to determine when is this campaign going to commence, because it's important that we must carry our own people with ourselves in explaining, this concept and the implications it has on quality and the like on their viewing lives. So I would appreciate it if I can determine from the department, from SABC, when are we going to see this campaign happening? Thank you.
Okay, I suppose this broadcast is part of that story, isn't it? Yeah.
Thank you. I think you have raised a very valid point. And then, you see, the reason that we have started today, we are hereby to inform the public about the reality of digital migration and to encourage anyone to involve themselves in the process of receiving this information and also distributing to the various platforms in the country. And also we are calling upon all the institutions, public and private, to support government on this initiative. But nevertheless, I need to indicate that GCIS, together with the project management team, they finalized the communication strategy. And then I've signed it off, I think last week. So what's remaining now is just the rollout. We'll be going, in fact, we've already started part of our public imbizos that we are holding. We normally move around with the team, but also we have got bilaterals with various stakeholders, like your Association of Independent Publishers. They've also agreed to say if we give them the pamphlets, they're even ready to translate in the various languages that are spoken in the various parts of the country. But the campaign itself now, we're going to kickstart it in due course. It's due course. That's why we started with this one for today. It's part of the process to start to roll out the campaign. The booklets, I think they've been sent for print. They are also dealing with the issue of translations, but like There will be teams now moving across the province, and then we invite the provinces. We'll invite whoever is interested who can also assist. But I must also indicate that we've got our own platforms, in particular the SABC, its 19 radio stations. We've got to enter into partnership with community print and community radio stations, community TVs, and also our platform. We've got the Vukuzenzele, the online ones in terms of the GCIS platform. But this is one of the projects that we're starting now today. It's part of the campaign now. We're saying now we are now ready. We want to roll out the program. I think watch our publications as well. We'll be doing that. I've approved the communication plan, and it's comprehensive. It outlines what needs to happen when, and one will be monitoring that to make sure that our people are informed about also including the benefits that come with that. We've been saying, through you, the chair of USAASA will agree with me to say, this is one project that was also contribute to the 9-point plan as announced by the president in SONA in February. To say issue of installation, we love to see young people, local people doing it, of course, together with the approved manufacturer, so that at the end of the day, our people on the ground also benefit out of this program.
In fact, this lends very nicely to table 15, Lindiwe Ludonga. A good question I think you have for this process. If you could ask your question.
My question is around how we women in technology can participate meaningfully in this process. It was said that the migration is a process and it's going to take some time. We believe that there are many opportunities that we can tap into. Myself have actually tried a few times to do some things within the migration and found it very difficult to get support from the players that are there. And I'm talking about outside of manufacturing, because I think everybody is concentrated on the manufacturing of set-top boxes, but there's other businesses that are complementary to the manufacturing process, and I believe that we should be given a platform to actually be able to offer our value-added services. And I'd like to understand how are we going to get assistance as SMMEs, and what is the Department of Communication is doing to make sure that we participate meaningfully in the process. Thank you.
Okay. Okay.
Peter, what I can safely say for now, and I'm glad that the question has been asked to say what can happen beyond manufacturing. I think if my memory serves me well, fortunately the USAASA team is here. They can even give us further details. We into the process of appointing installers. I think we in that bidding process of getting installers. And I think there's a vast opportunity here. The door is widely open because there's quite a number of, people who must receive. I'm talking now of these subsidized set-top boxes beyond those that people can buy from retail. And I think this is an opportunity where government can be seen to be making a special effort that people could be drawn in. So the USAASA team is here to perhaps give us the details of how far the process is. But I'm talking from conviction here, that if an effort is made to make sure that people participate, there shouldn't be a problem.
Okay, Minister, you want to add?
Also, with these multi-channels that are coming, we're going to need content in order to feed all these multi-channel that we're talking about. So yourselves as women in technology, you should be coming now with ways to say, how do you feed? Because now as we speak, Mr. Motsoeneng will talk to you that they've issued a tender that also had to deal with the issue of content. So I think that's another mechanism if you engage us on the issue of content, because we need content producers so that TV shouldn't become boring, people seeing one and the same thing all the time. So there's, to me, I see a lot of massive opportunities coming with this project.
Okay, Mr. Motsoeneng?
Hey, I like women, you know. So, and liking women, I mean, we can't talk about empowering them even now after 20 years. By now, they should be empowered. What we have done within the organization called the SABC, 2 or 5 people have been benefiting from technology. Example, I'm giving you an example. We have stopped that. The 3 directors, the CEO and the CFO, James Aguma there, we have agreed that every project, we are going to make sure that when people award, we are part of that awarding. So that we make sure that people like yourselves, my sister, you are part of that technology, because there are few women that I'm aware of who are supplying whether a service within the organization called the SABC. And if you are here today, you are welcome. SABC will be ready for you depending what kind of technology are you referring to. If that technology is relevant to our business, but not you as an individual, people like yourself, and people with disability. Those are the people that we are targeting within the organization. And when we talk, for us is action, it's not talking. You will see, you can come to the SABC, they will tell you that there you talk about action, my sister. But you are welcome, and especially young people, women, people with disability, we prioritize them now. We have even stopped some of people who are doing business with SABC for 20 years because we are saying there are people who are emerging. Let us make sure that we empower them.
Okay.
Are you happy?
All right. So,
should be happy.
So I'm going to ask 2 people to stand up because I think the questions are related and they're probably going to come to you, Mr. Motsoeneng. Table 14, Keith Tabo, if you could ask your question, and if you can get a microphone to table 7, where is it Kate Skinner is standing by. So let's start with Keith Tabo, table 14.
Morning everyone, morning Minister. Yes. I think we need to commend the Minister. I know it was very difficult, even in the cabinet, to pass through this phase. We as NAMEC, we've been supporting the issue of non-encryption in the subsidized box based on our research and understanding of DTT globally. We need to be also, Minister, be honest with ourselves as South Africans. There are organizations in this country like SACF, who have made it impossible for the transformation of the ICT industry. And we cannot go on with such organizations. We should, if we talk about transformation, we should be honest with ourselves. This struggle we've gone through, so many difficulties in this country for us to be fighting amongst ourselves. We've been in media for wrong reasons. They've been writing about us for things that they don't understand. Hlaudi has put it very clear to understand. You've put it very clear what is encryption, what is digital migration. But in departing, I would wish to say, NAMEC with Dolby International, we're putting up training academy in Africa for content producers. We've presented to SABC. I know we are going to need a budget because we want to put up content trading companies in Asia, in Europe, and in East Africa. So it is very important that we train content producers in Africa with Dolby. I came to Hlaudi's office with the president of Dolby. So we need to get a business plan that we can take to Treasury and put up that hub for African content developers. I thank you.
Okay. And then just bear that question in mind and those thoughts in mind. Kate Skinner, table number 7, if you could add to that as well.
Yeah, hello. So I'm Kate Skinner. I'm a broadcasting researcher and also a member of the SOS Coalition. So yeah, I think the issue around local content is incredibly important. And if you look at things globally, it's quite difficult to ensure that particular language content and particular local content is prioritized on kind of new channels. So I just wanted to ask the Minister and Solly Mokoetle the issues around how are we going to ensure that we're going to have local content on our new channels? What kind of funding mechanisms are we going to put in place for that? Thank you.
Okay, so a few thoughts that have been raised. Minister, Mr. Mokoetle, and I think Mr. Motsoeneng can answer as well.
Yes. Let me note the comments made by Mr. Tabo. Safe to say, Mr. Tabo, in this project we need everybody for it to be a success. That's the bottom line. And I must report that last week we had a very fruitful meeting with the SACF. They were raising issues with regard to clarity. We clarified. I think we're in agreement that this project has been long overdue and it has to be rolled out, and that have pledged their support to us to that effect. On the rest, then, I think it's water under the bridge. We just need to move forward. The issue of local content in particular, I think the SABC it's a living example already to say it's our belief. We've been watching a lot of international content, it's true, Kate. And this needs to come to an end. Hence, you heard us saying in our budget speech to say we're going to prioritize the issue of the funding model of the SABC. But currently, in the meantime, I'm not speaking on your behalf, you'll fill in me. That's why now you raise the issue of commercial agreements that the SABC enters into. They are doing that solely to fund the same so-called local content. You have seen recently we launched the ENCO. Solely for that way in we are just using 1% of the archive of the SABC that's there to make sure that we start to resuscitate because it's in the quest. And then when we were doing that, we were doing that solely in preparation for this oncoming digital migration to say SABC need to be ready. Come when we roll over, we switch on. SABC should be able to utilize this local content. I must assure you before Mr. Motsoeneng and maybe Solly come in on that one to say, we mean business. We want South Africans to tell their own stories. And nobody will tell the stories of South Africans except South Africans themselves. Hence I was addressing my sister there to say, it's time we need to have our own local film producers. Our own, there's a lot that's happening here. Once if you document the matter that's linking is the issue of funding, that we need to get more money to fund those projects so that we are able to have massive local content because we are going to have a lot of multiple channels as I indicated earlier. I wouldn't love a situation where you find programs being repeated because South Africa is diverse. There's a lot that we can show. Let's talk only alone about the cultures, the religions. There's a lot. So I think we just need money and we'll make sure that because at the end of the day, the benefit of digital migration is to make sure that we empower South Africans with information. So it's our duty and responsibility to go and knock in each and every door. If it means also speaking to the authorities above to make sure that we get money so that we fund local content.
Okay. Mr. Motsoeneng?
The lady who just asked the question, my friend from SOS, she will know better that SABC we have put RFP book, which is more than 600 million rands. Moving from 121 million rands for the first time in the history of that organization. That money is assured to make sure that we make sure that we produce local content, especially in different provinces. I know there is an issue now about that process where people are unhappy, some of people, especially from provinces. And reason being, because you don't have big production houses in those other different provinces. What we have been doing at the SABC is those big production houses, they should make sure that they partner with emerging small production houses from different provinces so that we can give them business. But if they are not going to partner with those provinces, we are not going to be able to do business with them. But the fact of the matter, this industry called production houses, they have been controlled by white people most of the time. Those people who are making noise, because now we are making sure that the cake is